What's up, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of The Hot Mic. You know, we've been tentatively opening the door to 2 episodes a week, so we are starting again this week with a first episode of the week. I am John Rocha, joined as always by the Sneider himself, Jeff Sneider. How are you, Jeff?
Hello, Johnny boy. Good morning.
Look at you. Another button-down shirt. This change in the look, change in the approach. I appreciate it. Looking dapper, son.
Smart, keeping it sexy.
We got so much to get into here. You know, these we try to keep these episodes a little bit shorter than our usual ones, and we don't go live on these for right now. We're just kind of kicking the tires on this, so to speak. And we've got stuff to get into in this particular episode, talking about movies and the state of movies, where they're at right now after a recent survey. We're also talking about some Johnny Depp comments and the Me Too situation, and coming back. Some of these actors coming back now in this interesting time that we're living in. And we're going to get into our top 10 PIXAR films because of Elio coming out over the weekend and not necessarily doing so great at the box office. So we'll talk about all of that. And of course, a quick reminder, please remember to subscribe to the channel down below, hit that bell button, leave your comments as you go along watching the show. But also, where do they subscribe your newsletter, Jeff?
TheInsnider.com. Lots of good stuff coming this week. I'm working on some doozies.
Okay, there you go. All right, well, let's jump into this thing, Jeff. Let's jump into this movies article. I want to get your thoughts on this. Variety published this the other day, and they had more than 50% of exhibition executives were polled in a new survey, and they believe that the, quote, traditional cinema experience has less than 20 years remaining as a viable business model. However, theaters are adapting with premium seating, diverse amenities, immersive formats like IMAX and 4DX. And recent box office hits like Ne Zha 2 earned $1.9 billion in 2025. But then when asked how long do you expect the traditional cinema experience to remain a viable business model, as we said, 55% of exhibition executives stated they believed it had less than 20 years, giving other available answers such as less than 5 years, 5 to 10 years, or 10 to 20 years. However, exhibitors are more likely to predict more than 20 years compared to execs in other fields like TV production and sales distribution. So, Jeff, you hear that? Does this feel like in line in what you've been sensing, what you've been hearing, what you think about what's going on here with movies? I remember us on Collider Mailbag, we would talk about occasionally when we were co-hosting the show about the expiration date on the movie-going experience after COVID, and during COVID. So what are your thoughts here when you hear this back and forth?
I mean, it's tough to answer this objectively because, like, in my heart of hearts, I want movie theaters to survive. And I believe that they will. I believe that there will always be that human desire for connection and, coming together to see something like that. I don't think that that's necessarily going to go away, but I'm not privy to the numbers of it all. I don't know the financials. It seems like AMC is always in a ton of debt.
Yes, right. That's borrowing.
Yeah, that's why you're seeing all these popcorn buckets and stuff like that. It's a way for them to make money. Right. To make up the money that they lost during COVID and stuff like that. And that's AMC. That's the biggest one.
Right.
And I know a lot of people using the AMC app. That's guaranteed income every month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The other theaters, I don't know. The A-list, I mean. I don't know if other theaters have, I'm sure that they do have similar programs, but I don't know any that are as successful as AMC's.
Right.
And yeah, you just don't know how these mom and pop theaters are doing. Like, are they all going to be AMC's and Regals, and we're just going to be left with two theater chains, or there's still going to be independent theaters and stuff like that? They are all fair questions. I mean, a lot has changed in the last 20 years for sure. Yeah. I mean, we could all be watching movies in our own homes, but with an audience full of people via VR headsets, right?
Right.
That may be the future. Movie going is actually in your home, and you're all signing up for the same showtime. I don't know. I want to say, John, that it's not going anywhere, but I also know, like, the land is expensive. Like, it's tough for these people to pay the lease. If they don't own the ground beneath their theaters. So yeah, what do you think?
I think it's very possible. I said this on Collider Mailbag. Human beings are a product of what they become accustomed to. And I think when you saw what was going on in COVID and people were discovering that they could actually get first run movies day and date at their house to watch, most people are going to get used to that. and it's a way less expensive option. You know, you're paying for a streaming service or a few streaming services. You could pay for all the streaming services if you're a family of 5, and it would be way cheaper than taking them to one movie on one night.
Right.
The monthly charge was way cheaper. So you got a lot of people accustomed to that. And so I think that was the explosion of the streaming services. But we've also seen, Jeff, though, the streaming numbers go down. We've seen these subscriptions to streaming services go down. So where are people going for entertainment? Now you've got YouTube, you know, the thing we're on, and also podcasts, whatever, but like you see that happening. Now you've got these other places like Mubi or Tubi and Movi, and all these places are coming up with original content. So there's a lot of demands on the eyes of consumers in where they can go find original entertainment, movies, and what have you. And I don't think there's that pressure to go and see movies on opening night other than the blockbuster films. So moviegoers aren't going at the numbers that they went to the movie theater before post COVID. And I don't think that's ever changing. I think that's going to get actually worse, you know.
There's no question that the toothpaste is out of the tube, and that COVID, you know, sort of gave people permission to stop going to the movies and
yes.
But again, like, why is Amazon MGM? Why are they jumping into theatrical distribution if you know, when they have a pretty robust streaming service? Granted, Apple's pulling back, right, and Netflix is pulling back for the most part, but you know, it's the talent that is ultimately going to decide these things. And so if the talent, like Greta Gerwig, says, I demand, you know, 2 to 3 weeks or whatever in IMAX theaters before we go on Netflix, that's what's going to keep theaters alive. And you know, like, that's talent that's going to work with Netflix. Like, you know, if more Greta Gerwigs of the world stick to the studios who, you know, are their whole business model is theaters, then that's another way to keep things open. I mean, you know, you're seeing, Netflix can say, oh, we have David Fincher, yada, yada, yada. But like, you're not seeing a lot of like repeat business. You don't see Alfonso Cuarón coming back to Netflix, or Scorsese really, you know, coming back to Netflix for a big $200 million movie. So I think it's ultimately like the talent will dictate the future, because that's ultimately who we want to see. We want to see movies from the big stars and from the big directors who we've always loved.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, what was a disclaimer? Isn't that quite on Apple TV Plus? So like, I think there's places for them to go, and I think there's a prestige level, right? When you look at the streaming services, that will attract certain kinds of directors to certain things. Like, I could see Christopher Nolan doing an Apple TV Plus series. I don't know if I'd see Christopher Nolan doing a Netflix or Prime a movie or what have you. And so you see that there's a separation even within the streaming services of the hierarchy of who is going to be attracted to work on what. Ridley Scott, again, Apple with Napoleon and other things possibly coming. So you see that even within there. So there is an approach to it and understanding to it, but the numbers are going down subscription wise for all these streaming services. And even Tony Gilroy on the Andor press tour said how Disney doesn't believe in streaming service anymore. And they had to fight for the budgets for their show because Disney doesn't really believe in streaming anymore, and there's no money in it. And so it only seems like Netflix is sitting atop and only getting stronger. And so you get the idea that Netflix, which has said, Ted Sarandos has said, like, we want to, in essence, replace movie theaters, and that they think they're going to go through. So it is tough to combat something like this, like Netflix, which you just roll over on the bed or jump on your couch and turn it on, versus getting dressed, going to the theater, dealing with people being rude in movie theaters, dealing with the price of refreshments, the price of a ticket. No matter how much they're upping the experience with like leather seating and 4DX and ScreenX, how much of that is actually translating into people going to the movie theater more? I don't know that that's going to make that much of a difference, even though some of these people surveyed here think it will. Do you think elevating the movie going experience is going to get more people in theaters or keep them coming consistently?
I mean, yes. Like, I think that you have to cater to these different pockets of people. So if like, I do think that they'll have to eventually incorporate weed into movie theaters. I think that a lot of people would love to go to those where everybody's lighting up around them. You know,
Right.
I don't know what that looks like from a health perspective or whatever, but
Yeah.
I think that is the future. Some sort of like Bud Cafe, addendum to theaters, whatever. Just like they started offering alcohol, whereas they
Yeah.
didn't, 15 years ago or whatever it
It's
was.
true. Yeah. Yeah, I wonder because they said another findings in the poll. And by the way, just give you guys a little background on the poll for those of you who may not have stumbled upon this article. It was conducted by analyst and author Stephen Follows in collaboration with exhibitor news outlet Screen Dollars. They surveyed 246 US based executives in the film industry to give their opinions on the theatrical landscape's recovery after COVID pandemic lockdowns, flexible release windowing, and the future of the business amid streaming's prominence. And one of the things at the end of the article is among their findings, nearly 90% of these US exhibition executives say that their revenue has not recovered to pre-COVID levels.
No.
And 81% also want an exclusive theatrical window on new releases lasting at least 6 weeks, while 77% believe that day and date streaming releases have a negative impact on the theatrical model.
The movies haven't been as good, like I think that a good movie will get people to the theaters. If you're making movies like Barbie or Oppenheimer consistently, you're going to get Barbie and Oppenheimer results consistently. If they want to, I like Jurassic World Rebirth. Read my review on theinsider.com. But I had a friend who saw it and they didn't care for it all, and they said it felt like a movie that was rushed to make a release date. Like David Koepp turned in a script and they put it into production right away.
Right.
Because they needed a summer tentpole because Fast X Part 2 wasn't ready or whatever.
Right.
And so I think that is how you ruin the movie business, by sort of releasing subpar product that doesn't get people excited, and they just think, all right, I can just wait 6 weeks for it to be on VOD. There also needs to be longer windows.
Yep.
But I think that when you said, what can theaters do? Like, you're seeing Netflix build these entertainment complexes, right? Isn't there one in like New Jersey or something? There's like 2 or 3 of them right now. I think that you'll see more of that. You'll see come to the YouTube movie theater or the Netflix movie theater, and we just play Netflix movies, or we just play YouTube videos, or whatever it is.
Right.
I mean, you're going to see a lot of virtual reality and stuff like that. I already go to Sandbox VR every now and then and have a great time there, and it's worth it. It is a little pricey, but when you think about what you're getting, it's an immersive experience.
Yeah, you talk about the VR thing. I have a Meta Quest from 3 or 4 years ago, and I just recently watched like the 10 Commandments on YouTube on the Meta Quest, and I thought to myself, this is an amazing way to watch it. I haven't even gotten the new updated one, which apparently is even better. So if you start to make that a possibility for people, I think that's even more of a situation where you're meeting the demands of the movie-going public and giving them an opportunity to see films in a certain way, and that's going to make them even less inclined to go to the movie theater. And I also think, along with what you said, the movie quality, which I think is a very excellent point to bring up, Jeff, the movie quality is going down. I also think that the people who go to the movie theaters have become more disrespectful of the experience, have become less precious about the experience, and that has affected people going to the movie theater, myself personally.
I mean, there's certainly almost like a performative element of going to the movies now, because it has to be on like your social media and stuff like that. You're seeing screenings that are almost interactive in a way. It's like that people aren't even there for the movie; they're there for the experience, which is fun. Like I'll take anything that gets them inside the door. I don't have a problem with craziness going on at Minecraft. I mean, maybe I did when we filmed our original videos about that. I understood how that would be disrespectful, but if you have designated screenings for that kind of behavior, I understand.
Yeah, like the sing-alongs for Wicked and stuff like that. Well, here are the top 30. I also look at this. You're talking about movies, quality, and so these are the top 30 of the last few years here. Original films, right? Avatar, Inception, Hangover, Gravity, Bruce Almighty. These are domestic box office. Big Fat Greek Wedding, Castaway, Signs, Hancock, Ted, Wedding Crashers, Quiet Place, Interstellar, on and on and on. So it's an interesting mixture of movies, but hardly any of them are in the 2020 or 2021 area. So you see that the numbers are going down for the original content as well when you talk about quality of films. And I don't know how much they look at Oppenheimer as original content versus, because it's based on a book and based on a person from history, versus something like What Women Want or San Andreas, so you're seeing that even that the quality.
Put that graphic back up though, John.
Sure.
Look
There
at
you
how
go.
many comedy you got. The Hangover, Bruce
Oh, yeah.
Almighty, My Big Fat Greek Wedding, Ted, Wedding Crashers. Those are 5 of the top 11 or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what studios need to get back to, is making these sort of big comedies.
Yeah. 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 You say, and yeah, these human stories that you see going on. And eventually, I mean, eventually the superhero thing is going to pop. That bubble is going to pop. And we see as a law of diminishing returns with stuff that's come up. So you wonder when the trend is going to turn, and maybe that will bring people back in the movie theaters. But I guess we should end this segment by asking you, do you think that the movie going experience will be dead in 20 years? Do you really, like, in the 3 a.m. by yourself, sitting on the edge of the bed in the dark, do you think that it will absolutely diminish and we're going to see massive closures of theaters across the country in 20 years?
I think that there'll be fewer screens, yes, but I don't think movie going is going away. No.
Okay. All right. I agree with you. I think it will become less of a thing to have access to, but the people who will have access to will be even more fervent in their movie going experience. So, and Regal is what I'm is essentially AMC A-list. Regal has a program. It's like $22 a month, and I go to it and I get to see IMAX 4DX at reduced price or free. And I take advantage of that because I have the luxury to be able to go in the middle of the afternoon. Not everyone has that. So I hope more theaters put that in motion, because I think that helps people kind of connect that idea. Oh, I pay a monthly fee, I should go. I need to go. I need to make it worth it. And so hopefully more theaters do that down the road. But certainly it's a troubling survey for sure when you think about the future of movies. All right, let's move on to another slightly controversial topic, to say the least. Johnny Depp is back in the news here, Jeff. He has got a new movie that is debuting in the UK called Modi, 3 Days on the Wing of Madness. And he did a new interview with the Sunday Times. And it was pretty extensive interview. If you guys haven't read the interview, highly recommend it. You don't have to sign up for the Sunday Times or anything to read. It's a very good interview, incisive interview on where Johnny Depp is right now. And he talked about his experience with these court trials with Amber Heard and coming back. And he talks about why he did it. And he said, look, it had gone far enough. I knew I'd have to semi-eviscerate myself. Everyone was saying it'll go away, but I can't trust that. What will go away? The fiction pawned around the fucking globe? No, it won't. If I don't try to represent the truth, it will be like I've actually committed the acts I'm accused of, and my kids will have to live with it. Their kids that I've met in hospitals. So the night before the trial in Virginia, I didn't feel nervous. You don't have to memorize lines if you're just speaking the truth. And I survived all the hit pieces of the bullshit. None of this was going to be easy, but I didn't care. I thought I'll fight until the bitter end. And if I end up pumping gas, that's all right. I've done that before. But I'll tell you what hurts. There are people, and I'm thinking of 3 who did me dirty. Those people were at my kids' parties, throwing them in the air. And look, I understand people who could not stand up for me because the most frightening thing to them was making the right choice. I was pre-Me Too. I was like a crash test dummy for Me Too. It was before Harvey Weinstein, and I sponged it all in. So I wanted from the hundreds of people I've met in that industry to see who was playing it safe. Better go woke, he hisses. So, Jeff, we've seen quite a few people trying to come back from these quote-unquote cancellations. What are your thoughts on Johnny Depp's comments here? And do you think this is the beginning of because we got Day Drinker, something you reported on. Do you think we are moving into a Johnny Depp being welcomed back onto the shores of Hollywood situation here?
I mean, I don't think Johnny Depp will ever recover, to the point that he was at. I mean, he was one of the world's biggest movie stars, and I don't think that is going to happen again for him.
Right.
But like he could, I do think that he's making a comeback with Day Drinker, which is a Lionsgate movie.
Right.
I don't know if the other studios are like dying to cast him and stuff, but I could see that, if a filmmaker got behind him, if Ridley Scott wanted to cast him, I'd like to see a studio executive try to tell Ridley Scott no. You know what I mean? That's what it's ultimately going to be about. Is directors going to back for him? I think that he got a raw deal for the most part. I also think it takes 2 to tango. I think that Johnny Depp probably has a drinking problem or had a drinking problem, and likely crossed the line on more than one occasion. I also don't think Amber Heard was just like an innocent wallflower in all of this. I think that's why Johnny, prevailed in court to some extent. You know,
Virginia,
he have balls to sort of put his text out there and throw it all out on the line. But I also think it's easy to to posture like he is in this piece, having won.
Yeah, right. Right.
You know,
We
like
would not be talking about a comeback if he hadn't won that court case in Virginia. Absolutely correct, Jeff. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's just going to take the right circumstances, and maybe it'll be small roles at first. You know, it'll be being part of a Murder on the Orient Express type ensemble where he, you know, maybe isn't necessarily the lead front and center. So yeah, we'll see how Day Drinker goes. Although, you know, it's an odd comeback vehicle for him.
Yeah. I'm working with Penelope Cruz. He's been hiding out. He's been receiving these lifetime achievement awards from places in Europe. Do you think this is, I mean, do you think that and that's the bigger question here. Do you think that we're a bit more prissy about this kind of stuff than like Europe is? Like Europe is a much more relaxed. Like,
they're way more accepting. I mean, they, you know, still have Roman Polanski and Woody Allen and stuff like that.
True.
Whereas, you know, the distributors who make deals with those guys don't even honor them after they're made. So, but yeah, the whole pendulum is swinging back. The tide is turning a little bit. Not that that's necessarily a good thing, but it's, you know, I think it's worthwhile to be fair and balanced about things rather than just,
yeah.
That's
what I'm wondering about. Cause I mean, I think he does come off in the interview a little bit like, you know, oh, he's almost hanging himself on the cross a little bit, which look, I can understand if you feel like you've been unfairly accused of something and that this was a extremely toxic relationship with him and Amber Heard. And clearly, I agree with you. I think both sides, it was a bad deal on both sides. She was 22 when they got together. He was 45 or 48 or something like that. And it's just a bad deal all around. It just went wrong. And people choosing sides, I get it. Because as you said, he crossed the line. She crossed the line. They're just madness between the two. So coming back, though, there's this idea of, I sense that this is connected to much more than just one case of Johnny Depp wanting to come back. I feel that the pendulum is starting to swing back, and I feel like we're like waking up from this fever dream of like everybody needs to speak perfectly and needs to say everything correctly and do everything, and there are no flaws, no mistakes, or you get no forgiveness. Now, in the past, I have at times been one of these people who's been like, no, they did this, get them out. But now I'm realizing as I see and hear the human stories behind all this stuff is like, yeah, you've got to create a little more understanding, not necessarily grace, but maybe a little more understanding of like, where are your flaws compared to their flaws? And what would you do in a situation like this? So I'm not excusing anything like domestic violence or anything like that, because I think it should be absolutely prosecuted and what have you. But like you see that things are changing, Jeff, and more people are being welcomed back into Hollywood, and that Hollywood itself was never as liberal as people pretended it was, you know?
Just remember, John, one can't have a little grace. You either have grace or you don't.
That's a
no, listen, I obviously have gotten a raw deal in Hollywood. I felt like I lost jobs that I didn't necessarily deserve to lose. And so I grew bitter. And I think that there's a lot of bitterness in Johnny Depp where it was like, hey, he feels like he didn't really do anything that wrong. And he should be able to reclaim his place in the industry. And it, you know, unfortunately, it doesn't really work like that.
Yeah, it's going to be fast because, I agree with you. The Day Drinker isn't the thing that's going to put him across the line, but I agree. Like these smaller roles, bigger and bigger filmmakers, and I think bigger filmmakers will open the door because they're not usually as caught up with the public's opinions or points of views on this kind of stuff. They're going to work with who they want to work with. Al Pacino is in the new movie that he's directed, and he just was playing with Bruce Springsteen. You couldn't find a more liberal person than Bruce Springsteen, but here he is on stage with Johnny Depp, as is pointed out in the article. So you do see that they're opening the doors of this kind of stuff, and people aren't as caught up and hung up on it as they were in the past, and people seem to be waking up from this sobering reality of it all. And I wonder if we're going to see more of these people who've kind of been moved out come back in. I mean, Louis C.K. is performing in a couple of months here in San Diego as stand-up in one of the biggest arenas here in town. And I'm like, well, if he's doing that, then how much of it is a leap to come back and do television, come back and do movies? I don't think there's going to be that much of a barrier anymore with a lot of these people. We're going to see the floodgates open, I think, very soon. Am I off base on that?
Huh?
Am I off base on that?
No, listen, if I was Johnny Depp, I'd hit up the Anderson boys.
Oh my God.
I'd try to get a role in a Wes Anderson movie, or a
Oh.
role in a Paul Thomas Anderson movie, because Johnny Depp could play that Sean Penn role in One Battle After Another,
Right.
with a little luck. So you got to go to guys who can call their own shot.
It's a great point. He could have been the Benicio del Toro in the Phoenician Scheme. I don't think that film would have lost anything to have him in it.
Or you go to a young up and comer like the Filippo brothers, or and Ari Aster.
Yeah, or even Zach Kreger with that. That's someone you could look at. There's a lot of up and coming filmmakers who probably grew up on Johnny Depp movies and idolizing Johnny Depp, who'd have no problem putting him in their films. That's a great point. Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens. And of course, Bruckheimer's been kind of kicking the tires, saying that he's going to bring back the old characters from Pirates of the Caribbean. So maybe if this starts to go a little bit well for him, we're going to see Johnny Depp back, who is still doing it for the kids and whatever. So, all right, let's move on to our Pixar stuff. Jeff, are you ready for this countdown? There's a top 10 Pixar movies, or do you want to talk a little Blade, or save that for Thursday? What's your feeling here?
I mean, what is there to, we can talk about Blade. What is there really to say?
Well, David S. Goyer was on the red carpet, and he was offering the magnanimous David S. Goyer was offering his services to save Blade. But he says that they cracked, that Marvel told them thanks, but no thanks, that they've cracked it finally, and that they're going to be going forward with Blade. Do you buy any of this, or is this kind of congratulatory stuff from David S. Goyer? What are your thoughts on this? Are you hearing anything, man?
I mean, I told you, like, I think Blade is going to happen.
Okay. Do you think it'll be Mahershala Ali? Because he said recently, he said on the red carpet for Jurassic World Rebirth, he said, call me, call Marvel, the actor. He said, call Marvel if you want to know what's going on with Blade. I'm ready. Let them know I'm ready. I would imagine they know he's ready already there, man.
Yeah, I think everybody's been ready for a long time. Yes, I do think it'll be Mahershala Ali. I think he's been around the project for long enough. He stuck it out, and fortunately, he looks the exact same. Black don't crack. So David S. Goyer, okay, it's like a thanks but no thanks. Yeah, I mean, he's going to come in and save it. Did we see Blade Trinity? Do we see where he left it?
I know, right?
I met David S. Goyer at the Blade Trinity junket. I remember that day quite well, because I also met Ryan Reynolds and Jessica Biel that day. Hey now. Yeah, there is no update here. This is just a guy. Hey, would you take this job if millions of dollars if Marvel offered it? Of course I would. I've always loved the character. What is he supposed to say? This is why.
He said,
you don't see stories about so-and-so says.
Yeah. Well, he said that Marvel told him, we love you, but we think we've cracked it now and we're in a good place.
So that's the news.
So,
okay.
Do you think that's like, they said that to him to kind of go like, thanks, but no thanks. And they aren't really in a place to
mean it. Oh no, let's read too deeply into this one quote that came secondhand from Marvel. I think, again, I think that the project will move forward soon enough.
Okay.
Marvel has bigger fish to fry right now.
Fair point. All right. Well, let's get into our conversation here on Pixar. Elio has come out over the weekend here, Jeff.
Elio!
It has not done well at all, and is I think it's it's the worst box office opening ever for Pixar. It had only sold about 21 million in tickets at domestic theaters from Thursday night through Sunday. And a lot of people feel that this doesn't even have the Elemental legs that Elemental ended up legging out at the end of their run. They started with 30 million when Elemental came out, but did I think almost close to 500 million by the end of their run. So it's sad to see this, Jeff, that because it's been really well reviewed. I have yet to see it. I'll probably see it sometime today or tomorrow, but like it's a shame to see that something original like Elio getting such a low reaction. Do you think you got chewed up by Lilo and Stitch and How to Train Your Dragon fan base, and they weren't really
a terrible release date? 100% on that front. They probably should have released it earlier in the year when there was less competition gotten out in front of those movies. Listen, I just don't know what the sell was. I never thought this looked good. Even at CinemaCon, I was like, what is this? What is this movie? Like when we're about to do a Pixar draft, John, and you're going to see that most of the just like the plots, the stories are fairly simplistic, even though there's a lot of complexity to them. And this one, I never got what the basic sell was. Elemental had legs because Elemental was good. First of all, I've heard mixed things about Elio. I think it's tough to just trash a Pixar movie outright, but I haven't heard, that it's like a standout in the company's filmography. So I think that's a big part of it. Like if you don't have the magic and it just feels like product and hey, we had to put out a movie this summer. Then people are just going to ignore it. I'm going to catch it on Disney Plus, in a month or two. That's how I felt about it. And my nieces aren't banging down the door to take them to see it.
That's bad, right? Because I know your nieces have made it clear to you when they want to watch movies, and if this one isn't catching on to them, that's not a good thing. That is not a good thing. But we come not to bury Pixar, we come to uplift Pixar. Celebrate Pixar, yes, by having this Pixar movie draft. And a lot of you have told us that you love our movie draft, so we thought we'd do one as kind of a segment here for this particular show, as these are pre-tape shows for now, and this would be a lot of fun to talk about this kind of stuff. So, Jeff, how do you want to do this Pixar movie draft? Who do you want to go first?
We always do. We're not doing any rewatchables things with categories and nothing like that. We're going to do a straight draft. It's all about whether you want the 1-4 or the 2-3. I was going to offer it to you unless you want to offer it to me. This is a big deal, though. I mean,
I will surrender the 2-3 this time around because I have a feeling that you don't have my 1, so I'm not worried that you're going to take it. And so that's where I will accept the 2-3 ranking this time around. You will feel free to go to the 1-4.
Okay. Big mistake. Big, huge. I mean, there's only one choice here, and I do think that this movie is head and shoulders better than every other Pixar movie.
Head and shoulders. Wow.
Okay. It's the best. It's just easily the best.
Okay.
And that's the original Toy Story.
Oh, obviously. Wow. Okay.
Give me Toy Story number 1. Because that is a true masterpiece that is so rewatchable and never gets old. Come on.
Okay. All right. I have that lower in my rankings. So my suspicions were correct that you were not going to grab number 1 there. But I will agree with you that the Toy Story franchise is where you need to reach for the number 1 ranked film. And on my list, and I'm taking this, I guess I'm taking this as the 2-3, but I'm taking Toy Story 3 as my choice here in the 2 slot, because that is, I think that's the greatest film they've ever done, emotionally, story-wise, performance-wise, direction-wise. Everything about it is incredible, still resonates with me today, and I think it's the best of the Toy Story franchise, to be honest with you. So that's where I take my first choice.
That's fair. I had it high on my list. I had it very high. But
you do have Toy Story 3 high on your list.
Very high.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we might be.
I would have done it at number 1.
Then my second selection then is The Incredibles, because I think that's the greatest Fantastic Four film already made. Fantastic Four itself will have to go pretty far to defeat The Incredibles, and that film is so rewatchable, so touching, so sweet, and the relationship between Mr. Incredible and Mrs. Incredible is fantastic, and the kids, and even Jason Lee does I think Jason Scott, whatever his name is, there from the View Askew crew. He does a great job as the villain in the movie of Syndrome. So for me, overall, immense pleasure with Incredibles. That's my second favorite film ever.
I had The Incredibles pretty high as well. I really liked the first movie. Okay, you're off to a good start.
You're damn right I am. You
didn't touch my 2 or 3 here, so
okay.
But I also like my 5.
Are you adjusting already? You're adjusting.
I mean, if I can get these 3 movies, then it's lights out for you. But we'll see. I'm not going to take any chances with this one. I'm going to go.
Yes.
Mike Wazowski and Sully, and I'm going to go with Monsters, Inc.
Okay. All right.
Monsters, Inc. at number 4.
Wow. Good choice. I do like that movie. But that is not in my top 10. That is not in my top 10.
I could have waited on that one. Damn it.
You could have waited on that. Yeah. Okay. I actually think Monsters University is a better film than Monsters, Inc. But I digress. Then my next choice is Finding Nemo. I love that movie. I love the relationship that Albert Brooks has with Ellen DeGeneres throughout the whole movie. And again, the father-son stuff is so moving in that film. And I thoroughly enjoy it. And I think the quaintness of the Australian backdrop works so well for the movie. So yeah, Finding Nemo is my choice. Iconic.
I also like Finding Nemo a lot. I had Finding Nemo at 6 and The Incredibles at 7.
Ah, all right. I had Toy Story at
my top 3. I got my top 3 right now. I'm about to take my third pick.
Okay.
And that's Remy the Rat. Ratatouille.
Oh, yes. Good
Ratatouille
choice.
is fantastic.
Okay.
I would love a sequel to Ratatouille. There's going to be a sequel to Ratatouille, just to be clear.
Wait, are you breaking that? Are you breaking that on the show that you've heard that there's going to be a sequel to Ratatouille?
I heard it like a while back, and it was denied. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm buying that denial. I'm pretty sure that there will be I mean, look at what we're talking about here. Like, you can't do a proper sequel to Up necessarily, or even
right.
You know, maybe you could for WALL-E, but Ratatouille screams sequel.
I don't think you're wrong. And Patton Oswalt is certainly a beloved person in the world of movie making. So to have him come back would be great. Foodies are even more crazy than they've ever been before. So a sequel to that film makes all the sense in the world. And PIXAR.
Elio underperforming, John. I think kind of ensures that we're going to get more sequels. And they're already doing Toy Story 5. So it's like, well, where are we going from here? Another Cars movie? Like, no, Ratatouille 2 is on the menu, trust me.
Well, they got Incredibles 3, right? Not Brad Bird isn't directing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Peter Sohn is doing so. It's so funny. I was saying this the other day on Christian Harloff's show. Like, it was a few years ago, Pixar doing a sequel was like a massive deal. Now it's legitimately the lifeblood of the studio now, because people aren't going to see their original stuff anymore in the numbers that they did in the past. So
it'll happen. I'm confident. All right, so that is my third pick. You have done 3 picks. You are now up. This is a big pick. You could steal one here.
I could. All right, I'm going to go with this. Yeah, I'm going to make a switch here. I'm going to go with it. I'm going to say Inside Out. Inside Out is my next choice. I absolutely love that movie. I think it's one of the best films, regardless animation or live action, ever made. And I just thoroughly enjoy going back to that film. Amy Poehler, everyone involved in it. And that Bing Bong, Richard Kind little subplot throughout the movie decimates me every time. Every single time. And so I have a sweet, sweet spot and love for Inside Out too, and eminently rewatchable as well.
Inside Out number 1. Got it. Johnny takes Inside Out. All right. Well, you left a big one.
Did I? Okay.
A big matzo ball out there. My number 5.
Yes.
The sequel, Toy Story 2.
Oh my God. It's not even in my top 10. That's not even in my top 10.
That was number 5 on my list. Toy Story 2. I was buying Toy Story 3. 3 of the top 5 movies are Toy Story movies.
Wow. Why Toy Story 2? I mean, it's gotten some, it wasn't as well reviewed as the first movie or the third movie.
Did we lose you, Johnny?
What's that? No, I'm here.
Johnny's refreshing.
Am I refreshing again? Oh my God.
Okay.
Why Toy Story 2 though?
Toy Story 2, I mean, it's a great sequel. This was like one of the best sequels ever until Toy Story 3 came out and topped that. So I'm not saying you're crazy for taking 3 over 2, but 2 is better than the other Pixar movies that I'm looking at right now.
Okay. All right. Well, then I get the next choice. And the next choice, you haven't chosen this one, so I'm very happy to get to choose. This is arguably this is a Criterion Collection. That's the level of greatness that this film is. And my fifth choice is Wall-E. Wall-E is arguably the greatest cinematic achievement of Pixar's entire resume of films because of how it's approached and how it shows you the love of movies. So Wall-E is my choice. Love it, the emotional story. And who would have known that I had gotten so invested in two robots, for God's sakes? It's amazing. So yeah, Wall-E is my choice here for the fifth pick. On my
Good value pick. I like Wall-E. I don't love it.
Oof.
I had it at 9 overall, and now I'm getting my 8 pick right here.
Okay.
That's Up. Give me Up.
Oh, damn it. You finally took one off my list. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good one. What do you say to people who say that the back half of the movie isn't as strong as the first half of the movie? Do you think
I
that
agree with those people, but
Okay.
the first half is that strong, and it does. Right. I mean, God, this movie's a crier. Like if you don't cry watching Up, there's something wrong with you. So
yeah, I agree with you 100%. Well, you took Toy Story and Ratatouille already, so I can't choose those. Those are the next two on my list. So I have to go with my heritage favorite, and that would be Coco, my ethnic choice here, because it speaks volumes to me. I love Coco. I go back to it all the time. I know it's got some specific cultural stuff to it, but to me, that adds even more of the greatness to it. And yeah, it's a pretty simple coming of age story, but the emotional wallops and the emotional beats that it packs are just incredible. And all the Latino actors that get to come in and voice over stuff, they deliver wonderful performances, including Alana Ubach, who is really a multifaceted actress. So Coco is the choice there for me next.
Coco is good. I could have been a dick and taken that off the board, but I wanted to let you have that and be reunited with people. All right, my sixth pick is my number 10 movie overall.
Okay.
And I feel like I've already won this draft. I got three of the four, three of the four greats, and that is Toy Story 4.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Give me Toy Story 4. Half my team is Toy Stories.
Show me Toy Story 4. I like that. Yeah, I like the movie. I'm not with the people who didn't like the film or thought it was unnecessary. And I thought it was a very adult approach to what happens. Sometimes your friends get married and move away, and that's life. So it's going to be curious how they make Toy Story 5 work, Jeff, because that really felt like the end of the franchise, Toy Story 4.
I agree. I don't know what direction Toy Story 5 necessarily takes her. I think that they did announce a log line, but I forget what it is. I just find these characters so poignant. That's the thing to me. It's about the characters, and they're so well written, Woody and Buzz. And I love how competitive their rivalry is, but also it's a friendly rivalry. These movies are brilliant. I'm thrilled that I got 3 of the 4.
It's all born from there. Go ahead.
Sorry, it hurt to lose number 3. Go on.
Yeah, I'm saying it's all born from that place of wanting to be wanted. And that's there's something human about that I think relates through all the movies with the rivalry between Woody and Buzz, which I think is great as well. Okay, so then my next choice, one of the more modern ones, one of the most recent ones that have come out, I'm putting this on there, Turning Red. I thought Turning Red was an utter joy and a massive surprise. It's the best thing they've done in the last 7 years in the releases that they put out. And I thoroughly enjoy what we got here with this character of Mai Lee and what she goes through. And there's a lot of, as someone who struggled with his weight, struggled with looking not attractive at such a young age and all of that, I related so much to what she went through. Now, the boy band stuff I did not relate to, but I thought was a smart play to the K-pop stuff we see going on in our world. But I thought this film was so well put together. And I caught myself getting emotional a couple of times in the movie as well.
I like Turning Red as well. Good movie. I had it at 18 though, so I
think wow,
a little bit. I think he could have waited. Instead, I'm gonna go back a little bit. I don't love this franchise. Didn't love this movie, but I think it's a good value for my 7th pick, and that is Lightning McQueen.
Oh, Cars.
Give me the OG Cars.
That's a good choice. Damn it, that's a good choice. I had that later on in my list, but damn it, that is a good choice. I like Cars.
Wow.
Oh, wow. All right, good stuff.
This is the meat of the draft right here. I got 4 films coming up. If you could get 2 of these movies, it'll be good for you.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 3 choices left, right? 8, 9, and 10 for each of us. Is that correct? Okay. All right. Now we're coming into the interesting area of the situation. So because you took Monsters Inc., right? I am going to take Monsters University here. As I said, I think it's the better film, and I like what you get with the relationship progressing. Or get the prequel approach to the relationship. And see what we're going to get in Monsters Inc. Going forward. It's the rare prequel film that I think works really well in tying up and connecting up to the film that came before it. So I thoroughly enjoyed it, and Helen Mirren is great as the dean there of the college. So Monsters University. That's my choice.
Okay, now I've got decisions to make here. Monsters University I liked, but I think because I love Monsters Inc. so much, it felt like a disappointment.
Oh,
so
wow.
I actually have it in my top 20.
Okay.
I think I got to get creative here. So even this, like, my 14, 15, 16 are available, but I may have to take my 17 just because I think it makes the team more balanced on paper.
Okay.
And this was a good movie too, and it was clever. I'm going to go with Inside Out 2.
Oh, you mother...
Yeah.
Fuck.
Dude, that's the thing. It was lower on the list, but I was like, oh, that's a juicy title that John... I can't have John have both the Inside Out movies. So...
You bastard, man. I love that movie. I love that movie. I had to honor the Pixar things that came before, so I took Monsters University. I almost took Inside Out 2. I should have known.
You got to make that stack, because that's like in fantasy football when you draft the quarterback and the receiver. It makes it more powerful, but now it's house divided.
Damn it. All right, fair enough. I mean, you took 3 out of the 4 Toy Story movies. Talk about a house divided.
Yes, that's
all right. So this is going to offend people. I am not going to select A Bug's Life. I'm just letting you know right now, if people are like, oh, why isn't he chosen A Bug's Life? I don't connect to that film like other people do, even though it is in essence a Magnificent Seven film. I do enjoy that. But so some people might be upset with some of the choices I'm about to make here now in the back half, or the last 2 choices, but I'm going to put Soul up in here. I really enjoyed Soul, and it was that rare animated film that the Lady Outlaw enjoyed as well with me. And I just love what it had to say. Yes, the Tina Fey stuff is a little bit like what near the end of the movie, but I love the world that they brought to life here in this movie, and the jazz stuff. I'm a huge jazz person, so for me, I like that aspect too. And I like the commentary it was making about how we come about onto this earth and our responsibilities and the things that, and the ways we get caught up in our anxiety and our all the stuff that happens to us when we start out in a different place, why we end up in the place that we end up, and how we need to remember that in order to kind of level ourselves back out again. So I love Soul.
Oof, this is tough, man. I see Soul was not really for me. That was not on my list of top 20.
Gotcha.
That is all yours. I've got 5 movies in mind for 2 slots.
Damn, it's a tough choice right
now. Here, I don't know what to do. All right. I feel like, oh God, this is tough. All right, I'm gonna do what I did the last time, where it's like, this isn't my favorite on the list. This is number 20 on my list, as opposed to 15, 16. You know, all these movies that are available, but it helps make my team look better.
Okay.
I think that's going to be Finding Dory.
Oh, wow. All right.
I liked Finding Dory.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't the greatest, but
yeah,
I like getting these sequels. It feels like I have a piece of Finding Nemo and Inside Out by having the sequels.
It was a perfectly fine sequel. I just didn't feel the magic for that I felt in Finding Nemo, but I did laugh. I did enjoy seeing the film. That extra magic thing wasn't there for me overall.
All right, so you have 1 pick left. I mean, we don't want to extend this to 12, do we?
I mean, if we get to 12, then it just becomes a law of diminishing returns. I mean, we can go to 12. There's 29 movies to choose from, so we can go to 12. I think there's 29. Yeah, 29. So
to you.
But we got a little bit extra time. All right, we got a little bit extra time. So if we're gonna go to 12, I'm fine with going to 12. Then at that point, I'm gonna take Luca now because I fucking love Luca. Yeah, Luca is such a good film. I mean, this is. I own it on Steelbook 4K. It's one. I don't buy a lot of animation, but I knew I had to buy this one after I saw it, and it is a gorgeous film. I love the relationship between Luca and Alberto, and what it leads to, and the idea of them being ostracized, and the connection. There's even that hint of do they have a possible gay relationship? I don't know, but I love the way they brought that world to life here, and I'm looking forward because I think that director is doing a sequel or doing another thing for Pixar. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they create. So a lot of nostalgia for me watching that movie. And so I loved it. Yeah. Go ahead.
That's your best pick yet, maybe. I thought it was really good. It was 14 on my list. You just got it with like the 19th pick. So I'm jealous.
I had to hurt you like you hurt me for Inside Out too. I had to hurt you somehow.
Luca, I was hoping that would slide by you, and that was just me. I guess not. All right, with my 10th pick, I'm gonna go with Elemental.
Oh,
yeah, those two are pretty roughly even in my book, Luca. And Elemental.
Yeah, Elemental is great.
Of the forbidden romance of it all, the Romeo and Juliet aspect to that story.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I think it's. I think the water side of it could have been fleshed out a little bit better in the movie, but their chemistry is fantastic, and what it leads to at the end is damn good. So I'm actually mad you took that away from me. So
all right, do you want to do 12? I have time to do 12, and then we have to end it.
Let's do 12. Okay. Let's do 12.
So we're gonna get 2 more bonus picks each.
Okay.
You're up.
Well, first. Then if it's a bonus pick, then I am going to take A Bug's Life here because, as I said, it is the Magnificent Seven. And I'd be remiss as a Westerns guy not to take that here. It's not my top 10, but if we're going to 12, I will throw A Bug's Life in because it is a very enjoyable watch. Arguably, the thing that got people to give Pixar a chance. And then Toy Story is obviously the thing that really solidified itself. But I thought Bug's Life was a very fun watch.
Bug's Life is damn good. And I was hoping that because you said that you weren't going to draft it, that I would be able to get it in one of these 2 bonus picks. So it was smart of you to take it right off the board. It was definitely the highest ranked movie on my board. Now, there is again, I'm doing the smart ball thing.
Okay.
I didn't have this movie on my list initially.
Right.
And there's one more title that I really want, but I need to get a little piece. I need a little taste. Okay. So I'm going to go with The Incredibles 2.
Oh, all right. Nice choice. Damn. Nice choice. Okay. Incredibles 2. Yeah, that's a good one. There's a lot of commentary there, and I do like what happens with Catherine Keener's character and the twist with that. So, yeah, that's a good... And, of course, Holly Hunter is fantastic.
This is a big pick here. If you take my movie, I'm going to be bummed.
I'm not going to take your movie, I don't think. I am going to take the movie that... I don't think I'm going to take your movie. Well, no, I got to take this one, though. I do have to take this one. I was going to take another one as a controversial choice, which probably would have lost my list in comparison, but I'm going to take Onward here.
Damn it!
Yeah. Yes. I love Onward. Again, I think the modern or the most recent Pixar films get an unfair shake from a lot of people. And I think these films were damn good. Soul, Luca, Onward. These are good films. They're not Toy Story, but they shouldn't have to suffer because they're not Toy Story. And I think Onward delivers a really beautiful story about father and son stuff. And that ending, fucking cry as hard as I ever cried in Field of Dreams, watching what he does for his brother. I'm gonna get emotional talking about it now. It's so moving. So I love Onward. As a guy who grew up in Virginia, I knew that dude that had a van just like the older brother does. So for me, Onward really works for me.
A great pick. I love Onward. That is a great movie. That is, it was like forgotten. It got caught up in the pandemic of it all.
Yeah.
Really good movie. That crushed me, John, the fact that you got that one. All right, I'm going to take a movie just to, again, it's for the perception. It's not one of my favorites necessarily, but I think it's going to help when people grade our drafts and try to come up with a winner. It's going to help me look a little bit better. Okay. And with the last pick,
all right,
I'm going to go with Brave.
Oh, good choice. Yeah. Brave. Yeah. It's two films smashed together, but it's still a good film. And you enjoy it, and the story and the overall message of the film is fantastic as well.
Onward and Luca. I'm gonna regret those.
Listen, I almost chose Lightyear because I defend Lightyear with every breath in my body. I liked that movie. I've seen it twice subsequently, trying to hate that movie, and I can't. But I didn't put it on my list because I feel like that would have unfairly sank my list in people's eyes. So Onward had to be the choice there. But if we went out a couple more,
I should have done that instead of Incredibles 2. It mattered so much. See, I thought I could sneak that one by you, and I couldn't.
No,
I thought you were going to choose Brave. You struck me as a Brave kind of guy.
It's the fact that the second half of the movie you go, what the F just happened? It takes such a left turn that you're like, wait, what happened? And to me, it kills the overall effect of the film. In comparison to the other movies, I think the other movies are more consistently good versus Brave. But look, I'm not going to fault you for taking that. It's a damn good film.
Right, that was a good draft. That was competitive. We'll leave it up to the viewers to decide who won.
Yeah. And Jeff will put it up on the social media. All right, Jeff. Good stuff. Great show here. We are obviously going live on Thursday. We should tell people live at 9 a.m. PT, right? 9 a.m. PT this Thursday.
As of now, yeah.
As of now, yes. As of now, things can change, of course, in the ever-changing world of our lives. But yes, 9 a.m. PT Thursday. So, all right. Anything more to say? We good to go?
Follow and subscribe to the Insnider.com and compliment my pink shirt.
Anything you want to tease that you're dropping today or tomorrow? Anything you want to tease?
No. Some things I don't know that I'm dropping yet because I make deals. Okay. Sometimes I find out stuff that other people have been holding, and it's like, all right, well, I'll sit quiet if you give me something else. I know I just got a hold of a big ass thing I'm trading, so I better get something even bigger. We'll see.
And Jeff, I think you have experience dealing with people who are holding things. So yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Jeff. As for you can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, The Outlaw Nation on Twitch. Remember to subscribe to the channel down below. Really important. Getting us closer and closer to 50,000 subscribers. And leave your comments down below as well. And don't forget that we are also a podcast. So listen to us. The Hot Mic, you can download us in case you don't want to see our pretty faces. All right, take care of yourselves. Be well. And we'll see you tentatively Thursday at 9 a.m. PT for another brand new episode of The Hot Mic. Peace.